Okay, guys. That was the number 27. Next in my running order is the getting to know you section, or getting to know me. And I didn't really have anything. I struggled to come up with any topics for today. And so what I came up with in the end was in response to a couple of comments based on last weekend's incident with the Guardia Civil, which is one of the forms of police over here in Spain. I use the word police loosely. But some people suggested that I'm anti-police because of my attitude and referring to them as bacon. So the question I'm going to address today, and it's the only question I'm going to address in the getting to know you section, is am I anti-police? And if I am, to what extent and why? Or why I'm not? You decide. Now, I think I mentioned later on in the show last week that I've been involved in saving the lives of police officers in the past. There are two notable incidents. One, I'm not sure it would ever got to the stage of saving a life, but certainly saving him from getting a battering. And one where I'm almost certain that I did save the guy's life, and so was he. The rest of the police station, they wanted to lock me up and arrest me. Yeah. See why I might have a slight anti-police kind of bent. So I'll give you the story. It's 1989, and me and a guy that I'm sharing a flat with, sharing an apartment with, have gone out on the razzle, and we've taken a couple of young ladies with us. What am I at this point? I'm under 30. I'm about 30, 29, 30, somewhere in that range. And I said we've gone out, we've had a meal, and then we go on to a bar and then a nightclub. And the nightclub gets raided, and everybody heads for emergency exits. You know, we're all trying to get out before the police come running in with their wooden truncheons, as they were in those days. So we head for the doors, and the doors are literally chained on the inside. Major health and safety violation by the nightclub, but we'll not get into that. So we're kettled by these police. We're forced into certain areas. And we're looking around, looking for other exits, and I see a policeman lying on the floor with two men kicking his head. His hat, cap, whatever, it's like a cycle helmet, a bit of protection with he's lost the big helmet off the top, and he's got this crappy plastic lining from inside his helmet on his head. But these guys are kicking his head. And I stop them. It gets a bit pushy and shovey, but I step in where others probably wouldn't. And where nowadays I'd think twice. I probably still would, though. I have a tendency, I was telling Karen this a few days ago, I have a tendency when trouble breaks out to move towards the trouble. Now stop it. I don't mean that I'm the cause of the trouble. Not usually. I move towards trouble with the intention of helping to stop the trouble, to calm things down, get in between people. So when these two guys are kicking this policeman in the head, I get involved. I get them away. I smack one of them and make him go away, and I get between the other one and the policeman. And the policeman's on the ground, kind of dazed and looking up at me. And I stay there and make sure that they don't come back and that nobody else has a pop. And I wait for the police to control the situation. And I've been separated from my friend and the girls. I didn't see them again that night. Was for obvious reasons. When the police gain control of the situation and they find me and this guy with his head kicked in, blood everywhere, nose probably broken. I never did find out the full extent. They arrest me because police. They put me in the back of the the back of the police van, and a couple of their colleagues are in the back of the van, giving a little bit of roughy tufty on anybody who's thrown into the back of the van. And I'm here's the bottom of the van, the bottom of the doorway, the floor, and I'm marched. I'm in handcuffs, but I'm marched into the floor of the door and collapse inwards like that. Scars on my shins, bruises and cuts on my shins. And then the cops, they grab me, pull me in, a little bit of a pummeling in the back of the van, and off we go to the police station. And for the next 4 or 5 hours, they're questioning me about what I've done to this policeman and why. Fortunately, this guy, the policeman, comes walking back into the police station. And I'm being interviewed in the open. They've got so many arrests from this thing that people are just being interviewed at desks and in any office, multiple people interviewed at once about it, and at different desks in the same office. It's crowded. And this guy comes in, and the police, they're clapping their pals' return, fair play, camaraderie and support each other. But the guy walks up to me and offers to shake my hand in front of the rest of them. And they can't believe their eyes. They can't believe what they're seeing. And they're asking him, has he gone mad? They're saying, this is the guy that did it to you. And he's like, no. I lay on the floor and I looked up and I saw this guy pushing 2 others away. Fuck. Trying again, guys. Fuck. This has got to stop. Anyway, mixed feelings about the police from that event. But I unquestionably, in my mind, saved that guy's life. Wimbledon, 1989. Can't remember the name of the nightclub. Can't remember which police station I ended up at. But they didn't release me until about 10 o'clock the next morning, and they still wanted to charge me. Bastards. Another incident happened about 4 years later. Me and my wife, wife-to-be at the time, 93. We're out with friends, this time in Lancaster, near a little alleyway, a little ginnel called Francis Passage, Francis with 2 F's. And we see a commotion down this alleyway. And there's a gang of like 15 or 20, I'll call them kids, people between the age of 12 and 20. Christ knows how old, but gang of them. And there's a female special constable. For anyone who doesn't know, anyone not in Britain, special constables are like volunteer police. They're pretend police. They help out. They're doing their bit for the community. Most of them are wannabe police and don't make the grade in some way. But let's not get into that, because that makes me sound anti-police. This WPC stood there kind of doing nothing while her male colleague is in a doorway being beaten up by this entire crowd. And this police officer, the female one, she's just on the outside of the crowd. She's not even on her radioing for help. She's just kind of standing there like useless. So me and a couple of the others, like I said, it was me, a friend, and our girlfriends at the time. We all dive in. The 4, or I think we had a 5th. I think there was another guy with us. And we dive in and get the crowd off and shield the entire doorway. We keep them away. And we just put our backs to the crowd and push outwards and keep the crowd away from the guy. And they're still trying to kick in the gap. And the guy, he's gone to the ground at this point by the time we get in. But we keep them back. We keep them off him. And we had to go to court a few months later. That we were on the verge of having to give evidence in the court case. But the kid copped for a guilty plea on the morning of the trial. We were actually there in the building in court. I think he saw us and knew it was over. That's probably why he copped for the guilty at the last minute. Well, these are my experiences of what I would consider saving one life and saving another policeman from what could have been fairly serious harm because he'd gone to ground. He was on the ground with a crowd baying for him. So yeah, me and the police. And then of course I've got my incident here that's keeping me here, where a policeman just walked up, shook handcuffs in my face. When I said, whoa, that's not necessary, got his baton, gave two kind of indications, two waggles of it, I'm going to hit you in a second. And I said, you're joking. And he hit me twice on the arm, twice on the leg. And then they rugby tackled me to the ground, had me in handcuffs, and took me away. 15 seconds after they got out of their car, I was on the ground, handcuffed with two guys on my back, and 12 of those seconds was them just walking over. There was no interaction, there was no chance, there was no question, what's happening, what's this about, what's the problem. There was no investigation, there was no nothing. Just straight to waving handcuffs, baton, smack, 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 rugby tackle. These are my experiences with police. I consider myself a generally law-abiding citizen, generally respectful of authority and the police, but I've got a growing hesitancy, a growing reluctance to show that respect anymore. Respect is supposed to be deserved, it's not automatic. And they're not living up to their end of things, in my humble opinion. Okay folks, as I said, it's the only topic I'm addressing in the getting to know you section. I have done more for the police in my life than they have done for me. I held up my side of being a good citizen. They've abused theirs on multiple occasions. We won't even talk about COVID. Give them a new power and watch how quickly they jump to it. I'll be getting the YouTube warning. Okay, folks, here endeth the getting to know you section for this episode. I'll have a quick check of the chat messages, see what I've missed. Oh, Jasper's asking questions about corporal punishment in school. I'm a fan of it. I think that when a teacher gives an instruction to children, it's inherent. Whenever you give anybody an instruction that you want them, or that you feel that they have to follow, there has to be an or else. You have to be able to back up, do this or stop doing that, because if you don't, this will happen or that will happen. Even if it's not the first place you go. Even if you go with, oh, we'll tell your parents, or oh, we'll do this, or you'll get detention. If they don't stop, there has to be somewhere to go. You have to leave room to escalate. And I think that corporal punishment in school allowed that. On the flip side, I knew some teachers at school who went straight to physical violence. Games teachers especially liked to pick people up by, grab them by the clothes and lift them off the ground. Or at least press them against walls really hard. So a balancing act, like with most things, which is an answer that I just gave on Twitter to something, and that's blown up in my face. Okay, all things in balance, all things. Okay, folks, we move on. Next in the running order are the thank yous for this week. Join me on Sundays for TrampCast. It's the weekly look at the successes, the failures, the happenings in my life as a tramp, a homeless guy, a hobo, living in Torrevieja in Spain. It's at 5 o'clock Spanish time, Central European time. It's at 4 p.m. GMT, UK time. And 10 a.m. US Central time. Love to see you there, folks. Okay. Delta Mike, out.